Main event time. We're going to talk heel or face Dean Ambrose. If you don't know what heel or face is, well, it's pretty simple. Is Dean Ambrose better as a heel or face? Yeah, I don't need to really explain that all that much, do I? But we talk about whether or not we prefer that, whether or not he's better in one way or another. And then there's should he turn, and if he should turn, then how would you turn him? And if you don't think he should turn, how do you think WWE would go about turning him in the right way? That kind of stuff. You know, it's all speculative. And reason why we're doing this is because I've got a strong hunch Dean Ambrose is turning heel at Survivor Series. I can't imagine pretty much anything else happening. I mean, I'm really curious to see if anything else does. And I would be totally down for that not happening too, because my vote's actually going to go that I like him better as a babyface. I'll kind of explain a little bit later why, kind of go back and forth here, but let's go around and just give our general idea. Peyton, what do you think? Is he better as a heel or a face?
I do think that Dean Ambrose is going to make a absolutely superb heel. I mean, when they were heels as the Shield, he was basically the guy in front doing all the promos and handling everything. He was the guy I saw as the leader of the Shield when they were heels, even though I guess it was supposed to be Seth Rollins, they tell us.
Yeah, that was total retcon.
No, it was totally Dean Ambrose. And then in the later days, Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins was always the third wheel, but whatever they want to say. Dean Ambrose right now is connecting so much with the crowd, and they haven't even begun to tap into that. And I think it would be a mistake to not go in that direction. I do think he will be a heel eventually and do fantastic with it. But I think right now there is so much money with him as a babyface that's where I would prefer to have him.
Sean, what about you? Is this more you like the current Dean Ambrose, like him as a face, or do you want to see it change?
Oh god, I want to see it change. This Dean Ambrose character has bored the living shit out of me for the past couple of months. My fucking god, something has to change. And I want to see him become even more of a dick.
Has it been boring you since he's been a babyface, or just the past couple months?
When did the feud begin with Seth Rollins?
The first time or the second time?
When they had that ladder match.
That was this year. That was
ever since then.
Around Elimination Chamber or something?
Yes.
To be fair, Tony has complained about this a lot too. They haven't done a lot with him storyline wise. He's just kind of been Roman's friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if he does turn heel, he needs to change his fucking tank top to a black one. Or get rid of it. Or
Symbolism.
Something.
Kalen, what about you? Is he better as a heel or a babyface?
I have to agree more with Mike than Sean, because I think, like you guys are saying, he's not really been fully developed as a babyface. The crowd's going to be behind him and like him and support him no matter what he is, whether he's a babyface, whether he's a heel. But I think that his babyface potential hasn't been realized yet. And I think before they turn him, they have to build him up even more as a face so that when he does finally turn, it's even more dramatic. Because right now, like you guys were saying, he's basically Roman's friend. You know, he's the lunatic fringe, whatever that means. But it's like, what kind of lunatic kind of things has been making funny faces and cutting weird promos? And, yeah, I mean, that's such a lunatic. You know, nobody does that.
Doing small packages.
Yeah, I think they need to develop his babyface persona a little bit more. I would rather see him stay babyface for a while.
See, one of the reasons why I like him better as a babyface is because it's something not necessarily different, but it's different for what he's doing.
Well, he's kind of an anti-hero, which they don't do much these days. Like, they've kind of reverted back to the eat your prayers, say your vitamins, hustle, loyalty, respect type of heroes.
And it's so boring after a while. Like, there's a good couple of them that you can have. Like, I'll argue John Cena is fine the way he is for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have everybody, once they turn face, lose all their character. And they do that so often. It'll be like, this cool heel will be doing some good stuff. You can tell that they're having a lot of fun, too, whether, like, if they prefer being a face or a heel. Certain people just clearly like one better than the other one. And you can look at, like, most of the heels have a lot of fun. Like, The Miz loves being a heel. And when they turn a babyface, he's suddenly just not The Miz anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who fights heels, loses matches, and sits there and hovers over his tag team partner when his partner gets pinned, and he's just like, "Oh, buddy, are you okay? Oh man, you beat down my friend, and I'm a face, so I care." Like, I hate that crap. But with Dean Ambrose, they were letting him actually kind of up his character, I think. Like, if you look back what he was in The Shield, I don't think he had as much character as he does now.
Oh, no, not at all.
No. But I don't think his general character has really changed that much. I mean, he's one of those kind of borderline, anti-authority. A lot of people made the comparison between him and Stone Cold. And, just the kind of rebellious, I play by my own rules kind of guy. And I think he has that whether he's a heel or whether he's a babyface. And I think that's what makes him interesting, is because he is his own man. He doesn't subscribe to that, just generic kind of babyface mentality. So I think that's fresh about him, and I think they need to work on that a little bit more.
There's an interesting thing about wrestling in that it matches society in a lot of ways, where things will get crazy, and then suddenly everyone's like, whoa, things are out of hand. We have to dial it back. And then there's this whole revolution to get things back to being what we would call now PC or clean and safe. And it all just sets it up for, once again, something just snap and all of a sudden make things crazy again. Think about how, in the 80s, things were kind of like going nutso, and then they really cleaned it up in the 90s. And by the mid 90s, it was like, family friendly entertainment. Bring your small children to come see this. And then wham, out of nowhere, Stone Cold Steve Austin came in and made the Attitude Era. I'm not saying you're doing that exact same thing with Dean Ambrose, but he's the kind of guy that now we've gotten into this clean era. I think people are begging for that type of outlaw type guy.
And he's so good at it too. Like, he finds a way to do that character, and he's not doing it in a way that's kind of like, aren't I cool? He's doing it just where people can have fun with it. Like, having a heel like Edge, the ultimate opportunist kind of a thing, where he's, cheating people and he's making jokes at people and stuff like that, but he's doing it in a way that you can boo him because he's an ass, is different from Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is like that fun, crazy dude at a party, as opposed to like a total jerk, kind of. And I think there's room that he could be doing this as a heel, but the WWE would probably not like the idea that people still enjoyed it. And I got a feeling if they turn him heel, what they're going to do is they're going to go, can you stop doing that stuff? Because that stuff is getting a pop. And they'd strip him of all his character.
Yeah, that would suck. Now, do you think with Seth Rollins' injury, because I imagine they had plans to turn either Roman Reigns or Dean Ambrose heel very, very soon. Do you think that whole plan has gone out the window? Because I think the way I had originally seen it was that they were going to reunite as a heel trio sometime within the next 12 months or so. Now with Seth Rollins out, that completely screws up that whole plan. Fantasy booking in my head, whatever. But what do you guys think? Do you think with Rollins being out, now they're going to expedite or, kind of speed up, try to turn the heel on one of those two faster? And do you think it's Ambrose over Reigns? What are you thinking?
If anything, I kind of agree with your idea that they were probably turning one of them soon, only because they had the room in the roster to do that. At this point, I don't think they necessarily do have the room to do that. I think they need to try to find that next big babyface star stat, and the chances are it's going to be one or the other. So I don't think they should turn either one of them.
I don't necessarily think they should either, but I could see it happening.
What I still think was the original plan, I think what was going to happen was we were going to get kind of both ends of the spectrum. Like, I expected Roman Reigns to beat Seth Rollins at Survivor Series, have a standard, like, TLC match at TLC, or TLCS, or whatever the hell they're going to call it now. And that would sort of, like, usher in a new stage for Seth Rollins, where he doesn't have that title anymore, and the authority's kind of like, well, you're not the man. Because they've been really, like, boosting his ego. And I think at the Royal Rumble, we would have seen Dean Ambrose win the Royal Rumble, and Rollins be, like, all pissed off and all like, what the hell, you're not usurping me, and I was the one who was the best in the Shield, and whatever like that. but then he gets put in his place. And I think what we would have ended up building up to for WrestleMania would have been a heel Dean Ambrose challenging a babyface Roman Reigns, and Rollins would have turned face then to go up against Triple H. And now we can't do that. So I kind of think what they're going to do here is Ambrose is going to turn at Survivor Series, and they're going to either if they figure out a way to get around it, then maybe they won't. But I'm starting to think Ambrose wins the belt, and they hold off and do something weird at TLC. I don't know what, and Roman wins Royal Rumble again.
Oh, God,
That could be a
Royal
disaster.
Rumble again.
That would be a disaster.
It
I
could be a
swear to God.
huge disaster if they don't do it right.
There's no way they would do that again. I'm not saying they won't find a way to get Roman into the main event at WrestleMania again, but there's no way in hell they would let Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble again.
See, I think they're just enough delusional. Roman Reigns is in a better spot now to win the Royal Rumble than he was last year with the whole Daniel Bryan thing. But I think the last two Royal Rumbles prove, 2 years ago, they were like, well, people don't want Daniel Bryan in the main event. They want Batista. He's the big guy. And then they were proven wrong. Last year, they were like, well, if we put Daniel Bryan out there and stuff, that'll make them happy. And we still want Roman Reigns, though, but at least they'll get Daniel Bryan. They'll be happy with that. No. And I think that this time around, they're going to make the same mistake where they're going to go, yeah, well, people like Roman Reigns better, and they're going to really want to see him fight his best friend, Dean Ambrose. And people are still going to be disappointed, at least a little bit. Then they're going to be like, oh, shit, what do we do for WrestleMania? We don't have The Rock, we don't have Seth Rollins, we don't have Undertaker necessarily planned out, because that plan probably went out the window. Still don't know what's happening with Sting. We don't know what's happening with Lesnar. I don't know. But, if Dean Ambrose wins this belt at Survivor Series, who else could he fight at WrestleMania,
Now, who has to say Dean Ambrose has to carry the belt all the way to WrestleMania?
That's true.
Yeah, I would think he would face John Cena, though, whoever it is, if it's Dean or Roman. I think the opponent is John Cena.
You don't think people would be upset with Cena winning another Royal Rumble?
No. I think John Cena has lost a lot of hate this year. More than any other.
Yeah.
Well, the U.S. title reign just has dropped down from the main event scene. The number of absolutely fantastic matches he's had. I think more than any other year since that 2005 year where it grew, he's lost so many haters.
Now, between now and WrestleMania, do you think it's possible? Well, I think it's possible, but do you think it's probable that Kevin Owens could be built up to that main event level?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I could see that happening, too.
I think with Owens, it's going to be more, they want him to be that upper mid-card guy. I don't think they're going to put him in the main event, but I think that he's going to be relied on so much, and this is going to be the perfect time for him to get a boost, where I actually wouldn't be too surprised if they did something where he became the new frontman of the Authority.
I'm fine with him holding on to that Intercontinental title for a long time, and that should be his spot. I don't think he needs to be elevated to main event just yet. I think there's already a solid spot for him right now, and he needs to hold on to that.
Well, that actually is another thing that I wanted to bring up, too. I just thought about it when I just said of the Authority. Some people think one of these guys has to, if it's Roman Reigns or Dean Ambrose that turns heel, if anybody turns heel, because we don't know for sure, that they have to join the Authority, and I really don't want that to happen.
The Authority pretty much needs a guy. I mean, that's been the continual story, right? They had Randy Orton, then they picked up Seth Rollins. They do need a guy.
See, I'd like to see somebody like a Kevin Owens get that spot.
Now, see, looking at this table, this tournament table, the one I can see being the Authority guy is Dolph Ziggler.
Can I tell you? Can I throw you a curveball on who I think it should be?
Sure.
Apollo Crews.
All right. Hear me out. I mean, not hear me out. I want to hear you out.
Yeah. Explain.
Okay.
Opposite of what I said.
This guy is the perfect package of what they would want, right? He's got big-ass muscles. He's super athletic. He's really charismatic. His smile will light up the crowd. be the perfect representation. Be like, hey, buddy, we see you down here in NXT. You're the number one contender. You weren't quite able to pick up that title, but how would you like to just come up here and get the world title? Doesn't that sound better to you? And like, I'm not saying he has to necessarily jump into heel things right away. Like, he could like slowly fall into his position as he sees like where he is. Like, he could come in all smiles, like, oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. H.
So we got Drew White back on the line. Drew, should Dean Ambrose be a heel or a face? Which one is he better as?
He should be a tweener.
All right, glad I brought you back.
Drew, ladies and gentlemen. Pick one, you dick.
Doesn't he drop the call again?
I will pick face.
Why?
Because he is a face. It's not bad to look at.
So, when you're voting for the worst co-host of the year, remember Drew White's name. One of the things we were talking about is whether or not the Authority should get somebody who is a new person here. I'm starting to think maybe Dean Ambrose is going to get that spot, and that's my number one fear out of this whole thing. And that kind of brings us into, if he does turn, how should he turn? I know a lot of people are sitting there thinking, well, Dean Ambrose should just, join the Authority against Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns was the guy who said no and whatever. Not only is that too easy, I just think that kills Dean Ambrose. And he's just going to be a suited up guy for the Authority. That's not Dean Ambrose. So if you were to turn him heel, how would you like to see that go down? I'm going to start off with Kalen. What do you think?
Come back to me. I got to think about it.
All right,
because originally what I was thinking, like I started to say before, with having all three of the Shield members basically come back together, and so it would be a process of reuniting the Shield to turn him heel. But since that's not an option in the near future, I got to rethink that plan. So somebody else who's got an idea, go.
Who wants to tag in? Who's got an idea? All right, I guess I'll go. I would like to see him win that title and then turn heel. Not turn heel to necessarily win it or something, but I kind of think Dean Ambrose has been ignored for so long this past couple of months. Maybe if he wins that belt, he'll look at things differently, and it'll be like, I've just been Roman's friend or whatever. Now I'm the champ. I fucking like this. I like being the champion, and I'm not going to get rid of this thing for fuck all. And I don't care if I got to be a total psycho. I don't care if I have to crumble my friendships up. This is the most important thing to me now because I've gotten a taste at it. I like this power. This sure as fuck is not going away. And then I think you can kind of like go down the rabbit hole with Dean Ambrose. Like maybe his first title defense is okay. Like he just, has no problem with it. So he's not crazier yet. But when he starts struggling a little bit, then he starts getting a little bit too paranoid. And then he starts really going like above and beyond what he should be doing to win matches or to like retain through disqualification or something. Like, I'd like to see a heel where it's not just about cheating to win, and it's not about you get challenged by a babyface, so you walk up to the ropes and then you go, no, not today. I don't want to do it today. We've had those heels all over the place. Give me a heel that I need to be afraid of. Give me basically Mankind. I think that'd be a cool direction to take Ambrose. Like, he really gets that Lunatic Fringe stuff and he goes out there. Is that something that you guys would be interested in seeing?
Well, your idea of him winning the belt and then turning heel, I don't know if we want to get into spoilers we're like next week we're going to be talking about Survivor Series, but that's kind of what I was thinking, except the other way around. I could see Roman doing that, but we'll get into that next week. As far as turning Ambrose to a heel, I think that should wait a little longer. I think a good way to do that is, okay, Seth Rollins is out now. They said it's going to be out 6 to 9 months,
something like that. Yeah.
So he comes back maybe for SummerSlam, if he's back by then. Seth Rollins is going to come back, have a huge pop. That would be the perfect time to turn Dean Ambrose against him. Turn Dean Ambrose heel, because Seth Rollins will be so, over with the crowd. The crowd is going to shit their pants because he's back. And then that's how you turn Dean Ambrose heel, because it's going to be such contrast there. So I think that'd be the perfect time to do it. Either that, or at SummerSlam, have Roman as the heel enter with the title and kind of do the double turn. But that might be too complicated. But I could see him, when Rollins comes back, doing that. I think that'd be a good time to do it.
Drew, Peyton, Sean, any ideas?
Trying to think in my head here. I just really don't want to see him as a heel. I
Neither
just
do
don't
I.
think it would play out for us. So I can't even get my mind to put something like that together.
No, I really hope that he stays babyface. And I actually would be kind of okay with a Roman Reigns heel turn to get, that out of the way, kind of. If I have to have a heel Roman Reigns to keep a babyface Dean Ambrose, I'm okay with it. That kind of thing.
Is it weird how, a few years ago when we were talking about the Shield breaking up, we were talking about how, Dean was going to be the one that turns on them, and, how he's going to have, this big heel run, and now we can't really imagine him as a heel. It's weird to think of.
I can imagine him as a heel, just not right now. There's no reason to do it right now, is what I'm saying. I even said earlier, but you weren't here because you were doing whatever the hell you were doing. I think he's going to be a fantastic heel, but right now there's just so much love for him with the audience. You'd be stupid not to take advantage of that when you need a babyface star right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say. With every babyface imaginable gone, Dean Ambrose is filling a role as one or two top babyface, so he's got to stay there for the time being.
Sean, what about you? What do you think? How would you turn him?
I would do a slow process, say Triple H or someone comes down at Survivor Series, interferes in the match, hits Roman over the head with a steel chair, and then leaves the ring, and then Dean Ambrose is conflicted whether or not to pin Roman. And then he pins him, and then the next pay-per-view, they have a fair fight, and then he realizes that he can't beat Roman, so he turns heel then. Type of thing. That's how it would play out.
Can I throw what I've been thinking of for the past few seconds really quickly? Triple H went up to Roman Reigns on Raw, said, I'll pick you. Goes up to Dean Ambrose next week, says the same thing. Dean Ambrose says no at first, but over the next few weeks, stuff's been happening to Dean Ambrose, and Triple H keeps on offering his assistance, and he keeps on saying no, but eventually he just turns and agrees to join the Authority.
See, I wouldn't be down for that.
You wouldn't, Tony. You want to know why?
Because of the reasons I said earlier?
No, because you shave every day, that's why.
Sure. Any other ideas that you guys have when it comes to Ambrose heel or face? Is there something that kind of indicates to you where he should end his career? Should he be somebody who predominantly... You look at an Undertaker. An Undertaker came in as a heel. He's been a heel a couple of times. That was the last guy we did heel or face for, by the way. Go ahead and check that out if you don't know what I'm talking about. But he's kind of just been a babyface most of his career, and he's going to end his career as a babyface. Do you guys think Ambrose is going to be one of those guys, or do you think that he might come around and end up being, overall a better heel in the end?
I think he's going to be like a Chris Jericho, where he's going to be more of a guy who goes between both and excels at both.
As opposed to a Big Show where neither of them really tends to work.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be an interesting one if we ever do Big Show heel or face. Holy fuck.
Neither.
Just injured list or something, I guess. Any other opinions about that kind of thing, though? Has anybody got a prediction of where they think he'll end up making his mark?
I think he'll make a bigger mark as a babyface overall. And I hope he ends his career on that note.
If he gets to legend status, everybody ends up being a babyface. Look at Piper. All right, guys. Well, tell us what you think in the comments below. Should Dean Ambrose be a heel or a babyface? Which one is he better as, and how would you turn him if you had to turn him? You think that's going to happen at Survivor Series or not? Anything else that you want to get off your mind as well? Drop those comments below. Tell us what you think about what we said here, too. And we're going to continue this and end off this episode with part 5, Fantasy League, coming up next.